Hey everybody, welcome back to Sensei Steve Says, hosted by Shiage Do Martial Arts. Today we're going to be talking about doing some Seiunchin Kata with Shiage. Now, as I talked about in one of my previous videos, Shiage refers to like the finishing touches. The actual word in Japanese means to end or to finish or a final polish or that kind of stuff. So when we're doing our katas, what that refers to is the difference between like what a white belt does when they do their kata or a beginner belt and what a black belt is doing or learning to do when they do their katas. Generally, when you first learn a kata, everything's very static. You stay in your stance. Everything starts from a chamber. It comes across, it stops, it punches and it stops. And when you step forward, nothing moves. However, this is designed to be both an art and a martial art, which means self-defense, so you need to get some dynamic motion in there so that you can actually use it for training. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today out of Seiunchin Kata. So the biggest part of Shiage generally is getting your hips to move with your whole body, okay? When I do my punch, what I don't want to do is just punch with my arm, right? If I punch with just my arm, it's not going to be very strong. But I want to punch with my entire body. So when I do this, I'm going to actually push from my foot. If you've ever watched boxers work out on a heavy bag, a lot of times you'll see them go up on their toes when they're doing punches. That's an exaggeration of the same motion, okay? What I want to do is rotate through my hips by pushing with my legs. I'm going to push with a leg. I'm going to whip my hips. My hips are going to help get my abs engaged so I can get my shoulders engaged so I can whip my punch out and get a lot more power because I'm engaging a lot more of the muscles of my body, okay? It doesn't matter how strong your arms are. If you can get your whole body behind your punch, you're going to be doing a lot better. The other big thing with Shiage generally is a pushing and pulling motion that goes along with your hip rotation. If I am pushing with one hand as I'm pulling with the other, that's going to help me get this rotation going a little bit faster, and it's also going to help me get more of my muscles engaged into the same technique, okay? So if I had a punch out, so we'll call Seisan to attention, right? I do my 2 punches in Seisan, so side block 2 punches. That 2 punches, I'm getting my push and my pull from both of them. The second punch is actually going to be a little bit stronger because I can get my hips behind it. And if you're thinking about Seisan, they're actually both going to be strong because I have a side block first. Seiunchin, it does the same thing, but because everything's in a horse stance, that changes its dynamic just a little bit. Okay? So we're going to start with the big things from the beginning. So when I'm doing Seiunchin, I'm going to be doing some Sanchin breathing. Now here's my disclaimer for Sanchin breathing. If you do full power, isometric breathing, like you do in Seiunchin, you have the propensity to cause irreparable damage to your esophagus and your trachea, not your esophagus, and your lungs, okay? I'm speaking from experience. I'm 30 years old. I've popped my lungs, okay? It is a direct result of putting too much force onto that area, okay? It creates thick scar tissue. It can lead to what's called blebs, which are little air blisters on your lungs. It's not very fun, okay? So make sure that you don't practice this at 100% power until your body is old enough and stops developing. My recommendation is you should not be doing this at all before you're 16, and you should not be doing it full power until you're 18. That's my personal recommendation. If you choose to go against that, obviously do what your instructor tells you to do, but just keep that in the back. When I'm doing this kata, I'm going to be doing it with some Sanchin breathing, which is the isometric breathing. So when I start, I step out here, I want to get my hips under my belt here, and I'm going to tighten my abs in to kind of give me that little bit of a hunch on my back here. So when I push here, I'm going to finish my breathing as I engage my entire muscles. And then I'm going to get that push-pull as I bring them both down for my hammer face down blocks. All right? And then I'm going to get my hips to engage with this stab, even though I'm not changing my stance, okay? Shiage is not designed to be easy, but it is designed to be useful, okay? So to learn how to get your hips to shift without moving your stance is very useful, because you can get power then in any position with your feet, okay? But when I'm doing this, I'll show it from the front. When I lock in, I'm gonna get my hips, I'm gonna roll my butt under me to kind of straighten out my tailbone, all right? And I'm gonna come up and tuck my chin, all right? So if there's a punch coming in, it's not gonna punch me in the throat. All right, get that isometric breathing so that I can get that strong push-pull here with both arms. Reach out and grab. And then when I shift, right, I'm getting my abs engaged. I'm pushing with this back foot, but I'm not changing my stance, okay? It's a little bit difficult to pull off, but you should feel, right, you can do this with a mirror if you're practicing. You should feel your hips starting to turn and your abs really turning, so that you can push-pull here without turning your knee very far, okay? Along with those push-pulls, another big part of Seiunchin is the big down blocks. When I'm doing a big down block, I want to have my hand as a cover for two reasons. One, if I take a kick to the ribs while I'm trying to down block, so if I'm too slow, that's going to be problematic for me, right? Because that'll take you out of the fight quick. Also, it gives me that push-pull to make my down blocks a little stronger. One of the alternative bunkais to this kata is that when I do my reinforced side block, I step in to do my down block. Generally, that if you're stepping in to block, that doesn't make sense, right? Because if you're not there, you don't have to block. So if we're stepping in, it's most likely actually a hammer fist to either the hip or the middle of the thigh. So if you're stepping in to do that, I really want that push-pull to make that strike even stronger, okay? Another thing that changes a little bit with Shiage is your timing. If you think about this as a fight and the dynamics of a fight, once you finish with one person, there's going to be a pause before you move on to the next, okay? That one's the easiest way to, there's a couple places in this that you can really see that. So when I step in, when I do my side blocks, it's going to be step in quick, step back, boom. Then to the other side. One, step in quick, step back. Here. Then it's going to slow down, right? I did those backwards. I know I'm doing it out of order, but that's okay. So I get my second piece move. This is going to be slow. Then they come in deciding they want to attack me anyway. So I come in quick. 1, 2. Right? And that comes all the way from the hip. This is more of like a ramp, okay? Think of it as in Mongolia, when they were shooting arrows with their short bow. If they wanted to shoot a shorter arrow, so an arrow that was too short for their bow to be able to fire normally, right? Because if your arrow is too short, it won't line up with the bow itself, and you're likely to put it through your arm. What they would do is they would build some like a little ramp, like a groove for it to ride in, so that it could basically shoot it down that groove, and it would push it past the front of the bow without there being risk of it putting it into your hand or putting it into the bow itself and causing a weapon malfunction. So when they would do that, it was kind of like a guide for that arrow. Well, this is the same thing, right? So I come into this hammer fist, boom. This is still a two-handed uppercut, right? But this one focuses more on being a guide because it's short range and keeping a good guard in a good spot, right? My hand's still in front of my solar plex while I'm doing this technique. So, but another place that timing is really going to show up is we draw back cat stance here, hit the foot, you're breaking the foot with your punch, and it goes through those quickly because you're still fighting the same person, right? So this guy, I draw back and smash. I broke his foot. So as he starts falling forward, because I just broke his foot, I'm going to come in, punch, elbow uppercut. That's right before these, the reinforced side blocks. Okay? So when I'm doing some of this stuff, If I'm fighting the same person, I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker. If I'm fighting different people, there's going to be a pause in between. Okay? If you watch a lot of masters do it, and it's funny because some of them will have slightly different interpretations of which set of moves go to which opponent. So sometimes there'll be little changes in where those gaps or slowdowns are, but they all have them. You watch, the old videos of Angi Uezu doing it, the old videos, the 8mm film of Tatsuo Shimabuku doing it. If you watch, anybody who I would say is probably 5th degree or higher when they're doing this stuff, if they earned their degree, which at 5th degree you would expect them to have, their katas are all going to look like this. All right, to some level. Okay. So we're going to do this. We'll do Seiunchin twice. We'll go through it nice and slow. The first time, just to kind of call out everything, and we'll do it for full power. So, Yasumi, Kyotsuke, Rei, Seiunchin. So just like I said right here at the beginning, I step out. I'm going to get my hips under. Step in. It's all the same thing here. Last one. So from here it goes 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Right? Because I just smashed that guy 3 times in the same spot. 1, 2, 3. This guy. Pause. 1, 2, 3. Pause. And make sure you're getting that push-pull. We slow it down because I'm not actually fighting anybody here. Right? One of the alternative bunkais is somebody's kicking me, I'm just patting it down to give him a shot. He comes in to kick me again. I pat it down to give him a shot. He makes it look like he's going to attack me a 3rd time. That's when I come in, hammer, uppercut. Right? But those two are close together. Look, turn, double block, stomp, uppercut, nose down, and this one coming from my solar plex, I'm going to get my hips to rotate a little bit. I'm exaggerating, obviously, right? But I want this uppercut. Nose block. I bring my body around to whip the end of my hand so I can get my whole body engaged. Guard, down block, right? So I'm here, here. Quick. Same thing with this one, right? I come out, quick. Then we go into the break the bear hugs. I'm just running out of space here. There's pause there. There's separate people, or it's the same person but they're re-engaging. Punch down. Head, nose. It's going to be quick, right? The end is all the same person. I get this break the bear hug. This guy finally gets off me, backs off. This guy in front of me kicks me, so I break his foot. As he falls forward, he throws his punch. I step forward into it, all right, still holding onto his punch. That's why it comes off to the side just a little bit. Head, nose, and then break his grip. So you get smashed in the face, so he grabs onto me. I'm going to break his grip. So the timing on that is going to be a little bit quicker too. I'm going to do the kata one more time. We'll do it for a little bit of speed so that you guys can see how I do it and how I put some of that timing in there. And hopefully we'll have enough room to do it in my front room there. Seiunchin. Now I hope that some of these things come together and actually give you some insight on how to use some of your other kata, okay? The same basic principles from Seiunchin are in all the katas. That push-pull, your sense of timing, how you're doing stuff. That's all going to translate from one kata to the next. Alright, so if you're practicing that, you'll find it just shows up. And that's what you want. Even in your basics, it'll show up. So that's what I got for class today. A couple quick announcements. So if you are a YouTube subscriber, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell icon so that you can see our content when it comes out. We really appreciate that. If you are interested in doing some distance learning classes and stuff like that, hit up our Patreon. We do Zoom classes for our Patreon members. We do some, one-on-one and like a group get-together for our Patreon members. If you are one of our Shiage Do students, remember that we've got our catch-up class on Saturday. So if you're signed up for that, make sure you show up. If you're not signed up for it yet, there's still a couple spots left, so get in there. And our 30 and 30 challenge for the month of June is almost over. Today is the 23rd, so make sure you should have about 23 miles as a minimum done already. We're trying to get a mile a day for the whole month of June. Okay, you can make up a couple if you're falling behind, but you're trying to do at least 1 mile a day. The person who comes in with the most miles is getting an awesome t-shirt drawn by me. It's a variation of Mizugami from our Isshin Ryu patch, and it's going to be really cool. So that's only going to go to people who have done that challenge or one of my new physical challenges that we're coming up with for the rest of the year. So make sure you get in on it if you want one of those cool shirts. Other than that, I got nothing. You guys are awesome as always. Keep on getting after it. You guys are dismissed. Us!